Hello everyone, it's Zach. For this video, let us talk about how to choose your main as a topic for our discussion. As title said, I'll be talking about how to choose a main in Shadowlands and what do you need to look for. Well guys, I did explain this topic before this in my previous video, but this one is more updated, or I can say improved version. What are the things you need to consider and what are the elements that might affect your decisions to main? Plus, for this video is for players that are playing the game for a while but cannot decide what to choose for the new expansion. However, if you are a new player, I highly suggest you to check out this video on choosing a class. As usual guys, to ask for your utmost favor, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more future content, and remember to ring the bell. Without further ado, let us begin. First of all, as usual, before you jump on a class, you need to decide which role you are going to play in Shadowlands. This might really sound easy, however, deciding on your role is the most important step when it comes to choosing your main. Are you going to play a tank, a healer, or a DPS? Or are you looking for a class that contains all of the said roles rather than just focusing on DPS? If you are saying that I am going to play a healer, but I might play a tank or DPS as well, you should go for hybrid classes such as Druid, Monk, or Paladin. However, if you are saying that you are just into scoring more awesome damage and have no interest in healing or tanking, you can choose classes with totally focus on DPS specs such as Rogues, Mages, or Warlocks. If you are going to play a tank, you will be responsible for leading your group and setting the strategy, especially in Mythic Plus environments, which is somewhat a hard thing to do. If you don't know what needs to be done or pull too fast or too slow, people in your group will start complaining. So you need to take the responsibility to play as a tank. However, when it comes to raiding, it is a lot simpler to do your job. Most of the time, as long as you don't die, you should be okay in raid. If you think it sounds like something you will enjoy, then you can play a tank. In Shadowlands, if you are going to play healer, it means that you are responsible for keeping your team alive no matter what. In Mythic Plus, there will be big pulls that require you to heal and move together at the same time. Watching out for the affixes or surrounding damage that you playing as healer might require fast reflexes, since sometimes people can take big chunk of unexpected damage out of nowhere. In raid environments, there will be other healers and you will need to manage your important cooldowns for a certain AoE-wide damage and communicate with them not to overlap those raid healing abilities. If it sounds like something you will enjoy, you should play a healer in Shadowlands. If you decide to play a DPS class, it means that you enjoy competition and destruction things. When it comes to tanking, there is not much competition as long as you are not dead. However, when you are playing as a DPS class, you are always competing with other DPS players in your party, and people will judge you according to your DPS a lot, so yeah, be ready for the measuring of success. As DPS is really simple, so you need to make sure that you are performing well enough to save your spots in raid. Also, this is a ridiculous thing, but most of the time people will prefer the classes that are meta. So if you decide to pick a less popular option, be ready for waiting hours for Mythic Plus if you are pugging. After you decide on your role, now it's time for you to decide on the playstyle of the class you are going to play in Shadowlands. Let's say you decided to play a DPS. There are many classes out there that are dealing damage in a lot of different ways. Some deal damage with dots, aka damage over time, some deal damage with their direct damage, and some deal damage with their burst abilities and spells. Plus, you need to decide if you are going to play a ranged DPS or a melee DPS since the playstyle changed drastically. This decision is completely up to you and it is all about what you are enjoy. My only recommendation for you to choose a class that offers at least two of this style so that you can switch between them. For example, Warlock have Affliction, which uses dots to deal damage, and at the same time they have Destruction, which deals burst damage with chaos bolts. Same goes for rogues as well, or if you decide to play healer, the experience you will have on a restoration druid will be a lot different than a restoration shaman. Well, they are both healers, but restoration druid is really excellent on healing together with healing on the move. A restoration shaman provides incredible stack healing and requires you to stay in group or not moving as much as you can. Just think about these things and decide which one suits you more. Just think about these things and decide which one suits you more when you're making your decision. Also, the mobility of the class apart from your role is a really important factor. Let's say you decide to play a tank, you can choose Brewmaster Monk with a lot of mobility but not much self-sustain on incoming damage. Amongst the tank, this is another thing you should consider. To be honest, range specs have less mobility than melee specs considering the melee specs are right in the action. If you don't have hands-on experience on a class that you are interested in, then you can try it with class trial. At least get a rough idea about how it feels, then go ahead. You can watch some detailed guides about the specific spec to learn more about it. It is definitely not the same experience with playing for yourself, but you want to save up some time, this will be my recommendation for you. Complexity is another factor that I would recommend considering, of course. Difficulty or how hard it is to execute the rotation of a class can change person to person. But generally everyone will agree that playing a Shadow Priest is more complex than playing a BM Hunter. So if you think you will enjoy pressing more buttons and managing more abilities will satisfy you more rather than a simple rotation, you should at least try out the specs that are known for their complexity, such as Feral Druid, Sub-Rogue, or a Shadow Priest. Or if you don't want to deal with a lot of things, I'm looking for a more simple rotation, you can go for a BM Hunter, Fury Warrior, or a Havoc Demon Hunter. I added those factors here since, as a player myself, to be honest, I prefer classes with more depth and more buttons to press. It is not just limited to all either in every single game for some reason. I generally like the characters that are harder to play even if the outcome is not that great, and will always keep on improving myself. That is the reason why I choose Shadow Priest as my main and sometimes play as healer in Raid or Mythic Plus. Appearance of the classes are one of the most important factors for me, so I wanted to add it here as well because I know some people doesn't even care about it. There are a lot of people out there really integrating transmog to make their character looks really awesome. What they are imagining should look like the general looks of your class combined with the skills effects, and the theme of your class will help you to connect with your character even better and create more interesting gameplay, and I'm not even talking about the whole roleplay aspect of it. For example, a Frost Death Knight uses frost abilities with really cool effects, like you can use skeleton dragons that breathe ice flying in one path, and you chain your enemies with frozen shackles while wearing really cool looking armors. Fire Mage burns down the enemies either with a freaking meteor or chunky pyroblast. And there are really cool looking armor or gears that are matching with your spell effects and the theme of this pack. For me, the class appearances are so important that I seriously don't see myself as well playing a druid, even if I like the gameplay of some of these packs. The nature theme and the flowers and the herbs are just not my thing. It will affect my eyes, or I can say not feel the awesome in terms of view. I totally understand, but I just wanted to give an example of how important it might be for some people. So I will definitely recommend you to add the appearance to your decision-making process, especially if you are someone who cares about the looks and effects, since it might affecting your overall enjoyment of the game. Alright, to all my beloved friends, that is pretty much about it, I guess. The information given are the things you might want to consider when you are choosing a main. These are the things that are part of my decision-making process of choosing a main, even though I haven't decided on a class performance like others. I hope this helps you out to find your perfect fit for Shadowlands. This video is not a guide or anything, but rather a video about the process on choosing a main. I know some people will wonder why I didn't talk about the performance of the classes, and the answer is quite simple. If that's the most important factor for someone, then there is no point of all this for them. They will go with whatever they made up is, so that's not part of my throughout the process of decision making. Like I have mentioned throughout of my other videos, play the specs or class which brings you enjoyment. Besides, this character shall be your play until the end of the expansion anyway, even though you can change your main after new patch on live. As usual folks, to end my story, it's just my personal overview which may be right or wrong. If you have any ideas, concern, opinion, anything to add up, feel free to drop under the comments box down below to discuss. I appreciate for your full support. Thank you everyone for watching, and see you again in the next video. Take care, stay safe, and have a wonderful day.